everybody. Welcome back to When Love Interrupts. I'm Charity. Unfortunately, Jay couldn't make it today, but we have a wonderful guest who I'm so excited to introduce and to have here. This is Beth Revis, New York Times bestselling author and one of my dear friends. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, and I'm hopeful that my cat Dexter does not walk across the screen at any
He can
point.
walk across as many times as he wants because I've not gotten to cuddle him yet in person. So
I know he's a sweetheart, but he is very attention grabby.
well, that's what I like. So how you been doing?
I've been good. We recently moved, and we're still settling in, but I actually have an office, as you can see.
It looks beautiful. I've seen you've added lots of artwork since I've seen it, and it's gorgeous. I love your office. I'm very jealous of it. And where you live, I'm very jealous of that as well.
I'm just in heaven.
Yeah, I know you are. I know you are. I'm just gonna end up secretly living in your basement. You're gonna come down, and I'm just gonna be there.
That'll be fun. Dexter spends a lot of time in the basement. He'll keep you warm.
Oh, perfect. That's all I need is a cat, and I'm good. Yeah. I just won't tell about it. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, I'm so excited that you came on. I've got so many fun questions and things I want to talk to you about, but I really want to talk about all of your wonderful books because if anyone's listening and hasn't heard of you, they've got to check out literally any of your books. I would suggest this one right here is one of my favorites. I put it up there. The Princess and the Scoundrel. Star Wars. And of course, your Across the Universe trilogy, which sent you off. And how long has that been now?
Like 15 years.
No,
I know. I don't like to do that math.
What made you do that? You're not alone though today because I was right there watching you write it. So that feels not real that it's been that long.
I forgot that's how we met because I was working on that book at the coffee shop.
Is that not crazy?
Oh my God.
Back before you could get internet at your house. Yes. You had to come to the coffee shop that I worked at.
It was a long time before we got internet at that house. Like we were real rural.
I know. Yeah. Well, we live very close to where you used to live, so I know how rural you are. It's very bad. Anyway, I want to talk today. I would love to talk about some stuff going on in our country and what we've talked about a little bit with, just some things we've seen. And I know a lot of your writing, even before you started writing with Star Wars, for Star Wars, everything, you would weave in a lot of themes of propaganda and people being fooled very easily. And falling into line just for sake, just to fit in or to stay in that, stay in that line or be brainwashed, allow yourself to just put those blinders up, try to never listen, never educate yourself. And I'm just curious how you are enjoying this ride in our country right now.
Oh, what a ride it is. So my real basis of that came from a love of history. Like I was one credit away from having a history major. The only reason I didn't do it is because in North Carolina, if you're a history teacher, you have to also be a coach. And I didn't want to be a coach. So I purposefully kept off a credit so that when I became a public school teacher, I wouldn't have to be a coach. And
you're totally right. Every one of my history teachers in high school was a coach.
Oh yeah, it's really a pretty standard thing.
I completely forgot that. Yeah.
And honestly, that's part of the problem is that so many history teachers go into education with the idea of I'm going to be the football coach. Maybe we should focus on civics and history.
Oh my God.
Oh
my God. I know.
Yeah. But that's where a lot of that came from is this love of history. And now this love of history is wait, it's happening in real life. I don't want to live through history. Living through history sucks.
Yes, it does. Well, and it's supposed to teach you, so it sucks, especially when you just continue to never learn from it and make the same mistakes over and over and over again. And which is what, sadly we've been seeing. And it's funny because even thinking of Star Wars or dystopian, books and movies and things, it's so funny because that's such a theme that we've been fed for so long is be careful. Like,
Yeah.
this is how they get you. It's not all at once, and it is typically very, like, it's slow and it's strategic, and it just kinda sneaks up on you before you
Yeah.
know it.
And it's shocking to me how simple fascism is.
Oh my god.
I mean, like, I knew that on a esoteric level.
Mm.
I knew that Adolf Hitler spread the big lie, and I understood that.
Yeah.
But to see it happen in real life, and it's such an obvious lie.
Yeah.
And people are just like, okay, that sounds good just because they're racist. But
Exactly.
it's still it's so shocking to me. Like that, speaking of Star Wars, that was like one of the things that the producers or I forget who it was, somebody
Mhm.
involved with Andor, the second season,
Yes.
people were criticizing it and saying, you're just copying politics today. And they're like, no, we're just using the fascist playbook.
Yeah.
So look around.
Yep.
You're in a fascist state, babe.
Yes, you are. And it's really funny because I've also found it very ironic. There are so many, especially Star Wars fans and people of these, works of fiction that are a part of this problem now. And I'm kind of like, you have become exactly what you were so terrified of, and what you said you hated so much. I love I can't remember which one. It's one of the prequels, the Star Wars prequels, where Padme, she says,
This is how democracy dies, with
with
thunderous
the sound
applause.
of applause. Yep. Yes. And that every time I hear that quote or I watch that movie and I hear it again, oh, it gives me cold chills because I'm like, how is it so obvious? And
It's
yet
so,
we continue to just head down this road again, once again, once again.
yeah.
I
I
imagine
mean,
that would be frustrating for you, especially
oh,
putting
well,
in work and effort and time into these stories, and almost like cautionary tales.
yeah, but I mean, not necessarily for me, especially because as a cis white woman, like
Yeah.
I have a certain level of protection. Like
Yeah.
I appear like I'm in the empire. Like if you just look at my
That's fair.
face,
Yeah.
and I'm Southern, and like I look like I should be wearing a red MAGA hat, there's a little safety in that. But then it just makes it worse for anybody who cannot fade into the empire, so to say, and don
Yep.
that stormtrooper hat.
Yeah.
They've got a target now, all because of big lies.
I can remember sitting in class, even like you're saying, talking about history and everything and Hitler, and literally asking like friends or like the teacher at saying, how did it happen? But like, I get it. Like it was terrible. And I know what you're telling me, but like, how did it get to a point where people were torturing and killing a whole group of people just because they were told to? Like, I can't
Yeah.
fathom myself ever getting to a point, like being to a point where I personally could harm someone. I just can't fathom it.
I think that's why they target education, because
Mhm.
the more experience you have and the more education you have, the less you're likely to look at somebody who's different from you and think of them as something other than human. And it's that
Mhm.
great othering that fascists do. They pick a scapegoat
Yep.
and they make you think that those people aren't human, or at least they're not as good human as you are. And once you get somebody convinced of that, and the way that people can be so easily convinced of that is to just keep them stupid and don't let them travel. Because if you
Yes.
travel, you see other
Oh,
cultures, and then give them something to be blamed for. And it's such a simple playbook, and we are watching it happen in real time.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
To see people that I had respect for that I just thought had
Oh, yeah.
educated, were educated,
Yeah.
especially some of the people to just see, and especially so many people that raised me. But so many people that raised me, and like just to watch these people become the exact opposite of what they used to scare me to death with and
Yeah.
tell me I was going to hell with, and everything, and now just become a big part of it.
And I mean, to bring it back to religion, it kind of links
Mhm.
back to this idea of, for some people, religion is a comfort and a safe haven. And for some people, it is a source of power.
Absolutely.
And it's the ones who use it for power who who bring politics into it. And
Yep.
that's where the issue lies, really.
It's so true because for me, somebody that, you know, felt like I lost such an identity whenever I went through my deconstruction because I didn't fit. I wasn't necessarily using that, my religion, I wasn't using that for power or like status, it was something
Mhm.
that pushed on to me since I was born. To lose that and then have to kind of like reevaluate and say, how is all of that? Where did this start? How has this been so corrupted? And
Mhm.
especially in politics and religion in our country, you can go back and look at like Jerry Falwell, and Pat Robertson and all of them,
Mhm.
when they would started really pushing politics and pushing in with religion and especially right leaning
Mhm.
politics. And it just I think my mind's been blown over the last 15 years going from what I saw and what I was expected and what I always thought, religion or Christianity was, and then what it's ended up becoming.
And I mean, that's something we all have to contend with as well. If you're going to stay within the religion, you have to recognize that part of the religion is this dark Christo nationalist fascist regime. And so I still identify as Christian, but that
Mhm.
means I have to know that to many people, it is this hate filled, power tripping
Yeah.
group. And
Mhm.
so I have to counter that as much as I can.
Absolutely. Oh, and you do such a beautiful job of it, if I may
Well,
say.
thanks.
Especially the way you go about it is just so love-filled and beautiful, and I'm serious, like,
And you haven't been on my Threads account. That's
I don't know,
miraculous.
right. I haven't had threads on in a while, so what you been doing? You've been doing bad, huh? I need to get back on.
I'm just honest to my opinion.
Good. That's what everyone should be. Things would be a lot better and different if everyone was, you know?
That's part of the power balance too, is that they rely upon people
Yep.
to not speak up. And so
Absolutely.
I'm going to be as loud as I can.
Absolutely. Same here. And speak up for those people, like you said, the ones that are marginalized or the ones that are in a
Mhm.
certain minority. We are cis white women and we do have privilege. And I don't have a problem. And I know you don't either saying
Yeah.
that or admitting that in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's why for me, it has been so important to try to get out there and in any way possible, use your voice to
Right.
help those people. I know that you've done several Star Wars books, but you've done so many. I'm trying to keep up with you, woman, and I can't because you just keep popping them out like,
I got bills to pay.
you be paying them because they are just coming out like crazy. I can't keep up. Chaotic Orbits coming out in August.
Mhm.
Yep. You've got Dragons coming out next year, right?
Yeah.
When is
Yes.
it next year?
Early.
Early. God, yes, I
January.
thought January, perfect, yes, and that was well, that cover is so gorgeous, I
Oh,
can't
thank
stop looking at it.
you.
Do you think readers are more drawn right now to dystopian stories because of, like, what
Hmm.
we're seeing?
I think some certainly are. There's
Mhm,
also been a big surge in horror because for some people, seeing the darkest parts,
mhm.
I don't, it's not that they want to see the darkest parts, they want to see the people fighting the darkest parts.
Absolutely.
So in a horror or a dystopian, you see the things that we see, sometimes in an extrapolated way, but
Yes.
you also see the people who are fighting it. And that's where I think the inspiration lies.
Oh, that's so good because I love horror. I'm such a huge horror fan, and I was actually working on a little video yesterday and was talking about that exact thing about how I've noticed a lot of YouTubers or a lot of people that I watch, they have been talking a lot about extremely disturbing horror film or novels, right now because it is almost like a safe way of seeing, what is going on. It almost takes you out of it, but also kind of grounds you and lets you
Hmm.
know, "Oh my god, okay, here we are." Yeah, so that's really interesting, and I totally agree. I know I tend to do that anyway and watch
Hmm.
more, extreme things to keep my mind off of what's happening actually out in the
Yeah.
world right now.
Although all speculative fiction does rely upon what's happening today. Like
Mhm.
Star Trek was never about, you know, boldly going to new frontiers in space. It was about what was happening in the civil rights movement in the
Absolutely.
original. Star
100%.
Wars was never really about, a galaxy far, far away. It was about fascism
Yep.
and the Americans' role in the Vietnam War.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
like, everything that we write, even if it's set somewhere very extreme or like fantasy, it's still about what's happening today.
And sadly, I hate to see real, so much of it has become the Epstein stuff, Epstein files, everything with that. Seeing some of the things specifically that have come out of that, the depravity and stuff, I'm like, I can't find a work of fiction that's actually as bad as this. And I never
Yeah.
thought I would get to a point where I would say that. Like, it blows my mind.
One of the things I keep thinking, an older family member told me something about how I should just quit harping on about the Epstein files. And her argument was that, she was like, we didn't even find out about all the bad stuff Nixon did until well after he was out of office and, he was dead. Like, you're going to find out about this stuff later. And my whole attitude ever since then has just been like, well, I don't want to be apathetic to it now.
No. Yeah.
Even if the only thing I can do is scream at my congressman
Right.
every day and say like, hey, you're protecting pedophiles. Maybe don't do that.
Let's not. Yeah.
At least that's something. I don't want to just wait. And I know, like the Martin Luther King Jr. quote of the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice is true and it's good.
Yep.
But I don't want to wait for it to happen without saying anything.
Yes. Same. Yeah. And even if it is right now, all we can do is scream at the top of our lungs or go to the protest, and stand there in solidarity and do as much as we possibly can. I'm like you, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try my best. I know for me, I hold a little bit of guilt, I think also coming from that world, in a lot of aspects. And I feel a little bit of like, this is my responsibility now also. I was very loud when I was in that. And so I need to be just as loud or even louder now that I've realized my eyes have been opened and I'm on the other side.
Yeah. No, I get that too. Even though I wasn't raised in like a cult.
Yes.
Even though I wasn't raised in that aspect. Like I was raised in the South. And there are certainly some things that I did when I was younger that looking back now, I'm like, oh, that was super racist.
Oh yeah.
And I just didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Or I didn't see the full connotation of it. And so yeah, I definitely want to continuously be better.
Yes, same.
Yeah.
And all we can do is what we're doing now, You keep writing these incredible, stories that show that and bring it to light. And I'll keep talking about it.
When I was researching for Night of the Witch and Museum of Magic and The Crimson Throne, all the books that at least tangentially have witches in them, it was fascinating to me how ingrained they were in Christianity specifically.
Yep.
Because they existed parallel to Christianity. And for an incredibly long time, it was not either against the law or even seen as taboo for there to be witches.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the power balance changed. And then you started seeing it more. And it was more about an oppression of ideas other than Catholicism specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fascinating to look at how those beliefs existed without any sort of pushback from the church until it started making the church lose power. Or until the church was trying to consolidate power.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Take it out for themselves. That's really fascinating because did they work kind of in tandem before that? Like,
yeah, most spells were prayers.
Wow. Yes.
I mean, even if you think about it now, a prayer is a spell. It's all about manifesting and putting out into the universe what it is that you want, or like seeking forgiveness or any of that. That's prayers or spells.
Yeah. There's a lot of honestly, there's a lot in religion that's that way. Even, me coming from that Pentecostal background, like we're speaking in tongues and like all these different things that are very like, witchy and calling upon spirits. I mean, really.
And that's what made the Catholic Church kind of pull back from that, was that a lot of women were involved in this. Like it's you have this era rooted in the problem of women being able to take care of childbirth. And so most midwives were obviously women.
Yep.
And if a woman was giving birth, you would get another woman to come help you. But that was a medical power specifically linked to birth, which would also be linked to baptism in the Catholic Church. So there was a little bit of, a back and forth of like, why are you letting the woman in to help with this monumental consecration almost. That's where all of our iconic imagery of what a witch is comes from, is because it started in Germany, where there's lots of rivers like the Moselle and the Rhine River. And women at that time, obviously, and I'm talking here about the 1600s, obviously they couldn't have a job, they couldn't own their own property. None of that really existed on a legal basis. But one of the things a woman could do was make home goods and sell them for a little bit of her own money that she could own. And if you had a home good to sell, the way to indicate to your neighbors that you had something, so come on up to my kitchen and let me sell you an extra loaf of bread or whatever, was to put a broomstick outside the door. And if you had to go to the market to sell something, you want to stand out. And this is the 1600s. So hennin hats, those tall, pointy hats that you see in Renaissance paintings. They were old and out of fashion. But if you're going to the market and you want to sell something and you want to stand out and be noticed in the crowd, pop grandma's hat on your head. Meanwhile, remember how I said Germany had all the rivers? One of the easiest things to make in Germany at that time was beer. Because you were growing wheat, you were growing barley and hops, you can make beer. If you're going to make beer, you're going to use the largest kitchen vessel you have, which every single home had, a cauldron. You're going to make your beer. Now, beer involves a lot of hops, and you're going to get mice from the hops. So if you have mice, you're going to get a cat. And all the land by the river making the beer was very, very valuable land. And the greatest competitor of homemade beer was the monks. Of course. Because monks also had laws about what they could buy and sell and trade. And one of the things that monks in Germany could sell was beer. That's why there's so many labels with like monks brand beer. So once the monks were like, hey, up the river, this woman is selling beer and she's undercutting our prices, let's call her a witch.
This blows my mind. I love this. Just learning all of the cliches or whatever, seeing where they stem from. That's amazing. And it's really funny because I see where all of your research has come in handy, even for Fritz, like when they go through the market and stuff like that. Reminded me so much when you're talking about that scene in the book and stuff. And that's really, really cool. We've got
the only other like really big icon associated with witchcraft is like the ugly witch with the big hooked nose. And that stems specifically from racism against Jewish people. So it's racist and sexist.
Well, I mean, I definitely knew that. I just didn't know exactly how or where it stemmed from. That's really wild. That is wild.
What's even more mind-blowing to me is that we can track the way society moved to be against women and witches, like witches were women, to be against these people specifically, because it started off in Trier. Trier, Germany was the site of the largest witch trial in European history. It is the greatest source of death outside of plague and war in Europe.
Oh my gosh.
So if you take away plague, that's how many civilians were murdered. And you have to call it what it is, a straight up murder.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it started in Trier, Germany, and then just a hop skip down the river is Denmark. And James VI of Scotland went to Denmark, to Copenhagen, to marry a wife. And the entertainment for the wedding was witch trials.
Oh my God.
And then James VI took his wife from Denmark to his homeland in Scotland. And that giant body of water in between that is the North Sea. And it was the middle of winter. And the weather was not that great. And a huge storm came. The ship almost sank. And by the time he got on land, he said, witches made that storm. They didn't want me to come home with my bride. And so he wrote Demonology, which was one of the first books about witchcraft.
Yes.
Specifically there. This is the reason why Shakespeare wrote Macbeth. Shakespeare wrote Macbeth to suck up to King James. And it opens with the witches talking about crossing the sea.
I just actually read that play the other day because I was helping with the class and we were doing that part. And so that's really cool.
Shakespeare got it from there. And then from there, James started his witch trials in Scotland. And they weren't hugely popular. He still killed lots of people, but they weren't hugely popular because these were like midwives and healers and things. And it was very obvious how corrupt it was. Like it's just anybody with an ounce of brains could look at this and be like, oh, you're just a bunch of men who want to abuse women.
Absolutely.
But then King James of Scotland became King James of England after Elizabeth died. And his big problem was that he was super gay.
Oh, yes.
And being gay during the
No,
1600s was not
no. Mhm,
acceptable. So if you
mhm.
need to distract from your sin, quote unquote, because it's not a sin, but if you need to
Yeah.
distract from that, you find a different scapegoat. And so he brought the witch trials to England.
Wow.
And then from England, you have the immigration to America all the way up to Salem.
Unbelievable. It's just unreal. All of it. It's so isn't it amazing how much sorry, this is a little random, but isn't it amazing how much of pretty much every issue we have is tied to men's very, very fragile egos. And
Mm-hmm.
because I think about that even with the Bible, many people believe King James was gay,
Yeah.
and a lot even believe Paul.
Well, you also do realize that that's where the King James version of the Bible comes from. And that's where the phrases, things like, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, that's not a part of the original text.
Mm.
James had that added.
Well, hey, yeah, he had a lot added.
Yeah,
Let's
oh,
just
yeah,
yeah, that's
plenty
the
added.
I
And ironically, he added a lot of language specifically against homosexuality,
homosexuality, yeah. Well,
in
yeah,
part because it's like he doth protest too much, to pull
yes,
another Shakespeare line. Like
that
he
deflection.
was sucking up to the people and being like, don't look at what I'm doing, look at what I'm saying.
Yes.
It stems from everything. Like, do you honestly think Republicans aren't going to let their mistresses get an abortion? They
Thank
don't
you.
care about Roe v.
No.
Wade.
No, they don't.
Overturning
Or
Roe v. Wade only meant that poor people couldn't get
can't.
safe abortions.
Thank you. Exactly. And once again, only just to endanger women.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
the thing.
to
Yeah, and
control them.
control them exactly and their bodies and
Mhm.
just everything. Because yes,
Yeah.
100% correct. It's funny. I love witches. I've always loved witches, and I've never really known why. And of course, growing up how I did, I wasn't allowed to like witches or Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings was okay. Don't know why, once again, but Harry Potter was not. But yes,
Maybe because it doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. But also I think it's just because it was C.S. Lewis or not, I'm sorry.
Tolkien.
Tolkien. I just do that because I know they were friends,
I mean, yeah, they were besties.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
But
Tolkien itself as being a World War II analogy. The
absolutely.
fact that so many people don't see the point. Like, guys, you're Sauron.
Thank you. Once again, it blows my mind. How do they not see that they're like on the side of the empire? How?
I think part of it is because they feel like, okay, this is a theory that I'm spitting off the top of my head in
Let's
this
do
moment,
it.
so it's
I love
probably
theory.
messy.
That's great.
But a fundamental aspect of many of these Christian cults is that you are going to be a victim. You know the truth, and other people don't know the truth, and they're going to victim. Like, there's this whole idea of like, you want to be the martyr. You're not doing it right if people don't hate you for it.
Oh yeah.
And so when they get the hate for being fascist, they're applying that to being Christ-like.
Absolutely.
And it's such a sick and twisted way, so that they see themselves as the rebels or, the hobbits or whatever the hero is, because they feel like they have to be a victim.
Yep. Well, and that's why Christian nationalists, it fits so perfectly together, because, Christian or any really kind of religion works so well with fascism or with nationalism, and stuff. And to see it on a mass scale like this, it does make you feel almost like you are living in a Star Wars or something like that, where it's so corrupt that you are kind of like, how is there not a bigger rebellion? Like, where is that, and stuff like, how is this continuing?
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of people who, if it just has any hint of Christianity to it, they'll just pass it by and be like, oh,
Absolutely.
well, maybe they have a little bit different view from me, but it's okay. They're still one of my kind. And that apathy paves the road for fascism.
100%. And it does not help when you have, some of the biggest faith leaders like Franklin Graham and people out there telling all these other, that is right. Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to the othering that I was talking about, because if you can even tangentially say like, oh, the fascist is Christian and so am I, then you're safe from being the other.
Yep.
And then you feel safe, and you don't feel like you need to say anything about the people who aren't safe, without realizing that the boot's going to eventually step on you no matter how much you lick it.
I don't know how many more times they need to see that before people start opening their eyes to it. I don't understand. When it comes to any kind of fascism, it's so obvious. And then Trump alone especially has made that obvious. Like, he does
Yeah.
not care who you are. He does not care. You can
It boggles my mind that people who think that he's Christ-like.
blows. Okay, yeah, we're not even just
I mean, the
can't
only way they
do
can make
this.
this work is with AI.
Well, and they're trying desperately. Let's be honest.
It's like I saw a meme once with Trump petting a dog with like an angel behind him, and I'm like, okay, first of all, the angel's not like that, and second of all, you can't even find a photograph of Trump with a dog. Like, you're so bad, puppies don't like you.
What's happening?
Like, when have you ever seen Trump actually make a nice photograph with a dog or a child?
Never.
Never.
They're all scared of them. Animals and children. They stay clear.
I mean, they have to use AI to manufacture their president with a dog.
And as Jesus, or I mean, a doctor, you know.
Obviously, that was a medical situation.
Yes, it was. It was very serious. John
so
Stewart was
ridiculous.
dying. Okay.
But like, the fact that, I mean, if you even are going to believe the oldest text and be against a golden idol, and you have this man who sits
Like,
on
literal.
his pale ass on a golden toilet.
And he's not even just that, he has made
And
literal golden idols, like, and like sells them. And I love it.
Yes. And he cast himself in Christ's image. This is your book, babe. Like, read it and spot what's going on.
Exactly. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. Oh my gosh.
But that's why fascism needs uneducated people.
It does.
Who don't have any critical thinking skills.
Oh, it so does. And you know, that made me think, actually, these people don't know what's in their book. That's why they don't. It's just like Pete Hegseth the other day. I don't know if you saw where he quoted.
And he used the quote from Pulp Fiction. I mean, he's just such a...
I thought before everyone started talking about it. And when I was listening to it, I was like, I've heard this before.
That's where I have some issues with some branches of Christianity, because there's this idea that you're supposed to have childlike faith, but that doesn't mean you're supposed to have uneducated faith.
Exactly.
And there's this idea, and what I see it a lot in the South, and I know you do too, of if you get too much education, you're considered to be, you think you're better than everyone else.
100%.
The fact that there are some people whose whole career is based on religion and yet have never read anything beyond the King James Bible is a red flag. And there's whole branches of and whole denominations that don't require any type of education at all.
Well, I mean, I grew up in one.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah.
Yes.
And that just leads into it.
It does. And I've told you, like, even the pastor I had growing up, nothing. He was like in the military and came on, just started.
Yeah. And I think there is something to be said for, like, I'm called to serve, or I'm called to do this, but then also be called to go to school.
Go to get educated for that.
Yeah.
You're not going to do
if
any
you have
other
the calling,
job,
care about it enough to learn.
Exactly. That's it. Thank you. Educate yourself for it. Exactly. Yeah. And that's where I get really frustrated with a lot of people that I still have around, you know, in this area or anything, because they'll try to say something to me about the Bible or about something, and I'm just like, please let's discuss this, because I can guarantee you I probably know more than you do about what's in the Bible. I can almost guarantee, you know, because they just have no idea.
I think I know more about the Bible. Like, I'm very weak on my biblical studies.
Well, I mean, it has been a while for me too, to be fair.
Yeah. But I also know enough to know that this is a translation of a translation of a translation made from scraps, documented from things 2,000 years ago. And we are no longer in the day and age where a different denomination is the difference between consubstantiation and transubstantiation.
Yes.
We're in the day and age where a difference in denominations can mean the difference between education and not.
Because I can remember going with some of my friends to their churches, you know, growing up, and it would be maybe a Methodist church. And I could so clearly see the difference in the teachings. Like, the words, the way that they would just format their sermons, you know. Well, first of all, a lot of times it was just, you could understand it. Nice, for one thing, you know, it wasn't just all over the place. But like, also you could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Like I could go up to them and ask them a question and they would probably have the right kind of answer for me
Yeah.
versus asking a question they don't have an answer to it. They just make something up or say, don't question, even questioning is a sin or wrong.
Yeah, that whole idea of like you can't even question, and that's what makes it a sin. That's such a pitfall and such a dark place to put your people.
Yep.
But it also increases the way to other them
Yep.
because if you ask questions, you're setting yourself aside from the group.
Yep.
And it's dangerous to set yourself aside from the group. And you can go into some churches and they're very inclusive and they're welcoming to everybody. They want you to be a part of it. They're community minded.
Yes.
And any church that is concerned about being one like that, where if you're not like them, you're other, they're power minded.
Yes, 100%. Because even if you look at the old church, the original, like if you go back, it was home church. It was this, it was about community. That's what it was for. And that's what the church was always supposed to be, was to help the community, to be there, to be able to walk into that church anytime you need and say sanctuary and call that and be protected, and it's just really sad that it's kind of become the opposite, where that's where you gonna get hurt a lot of times if you end up, but like you said, like there are so many wonderful places that are so inclusive now and that are moving more towards that community minded like faith, and I love to see it.
I think, we all need community of some kind, whether it's in a church or anywhere else. Like we need a community. I also think people need, to a certain extent, ritual, and they need, to a certain extent, a belief in something, whether or not that's a concept, like the belief in the good of humanity or God. Like people need a belief that's part of being a human, and we need ritual. And that ritual can be as simple as, the steps you take every morning, like Confucius did. Like Confucius was not, if you take aside the religious aspect that had grew from it centuries later, Confucianism was about doing things in an ordered measure. And we need that ritual to a certain extent, whether it is just like every morning I make myself my cup of coffee in a certain way. Exactly. That's my ritual that grounds me, or a prayer, whatever it is. We need some sort of ritual. We need some sort of belief, and we need some sort of community. And the more the church doesn't provide that, the more it fails.
That is 100% of what I know, especially for me and most of the people I've talked to that have deconstructed. That is like what it is. It's like losing that community, losing that ritualistic, like, where you have a church community, you might go every Sunday, or you have like a home church, whatever it is. Like when you lose that, you just lose yourself. I'm like you. Like, I felt like I lost my identity. Like it was so hard to get back to that place, for so long, to feel again to where I could even kind of like you, like where I could say I'm okay saying the word Christian, that I love Jesus, that I like to follow him and his example and who he was, because for a long time I was like I'm not even saying Christian because I don't want anyone like think that I could be this type of Christian, It's really sad, but which also makes me want to fight for it because they corrupted it so much.
As a nation, we're going to have to reckon with Christofascism and nationalism, and
sadly, I think we're going to end up having to reckon with for years to come. Like it's going to be a part of our world, probably for a while. Sadly, I don't like to say that.
Yeah, after COVID, and I saw so many people who just didn't care about their neighbors. Like that was the first straw. I don't know if Trump would have the power he has now if it wasn't for COVID.
I don't either.
And that's disgusting to say, but the fact that so many humans were willing to,
Beth,
I don't want to wear a mask. I'm not immunocompromised. I don't care about this.
That was one of my first kind of eye openers, I think, really for me, was especially with you and your husband Corwin, watching both, because he is immunocompromised. Your husband does have issues with his heart. And I was absolutely petrified for you guys and your child. And I just remember having that on top of it. And that opened my eyes to seeing people that I loved would make fun of it, make fun of wearing masks, make fun of people doing all this stuff. And I'm like over here, like, I have friends. One of my dear friends could lose her husband. He could be gone forever. And his child grew up without a father. because you don't want to wear a mask.
It was just the simplest, easiest thing to do to show that you care about others and you care about your neighbors.
So simple. I know.
And so many people turned it into a power play, and that just goes to show exactly where they were coming from.
Mhm.
They weren't coming from a community church that cared about empathy and taking care of their neighbors. They were coming from a church that cared about power, and they wanted to display their power in whatever way they could.
And sadly, there's a lot of people that I still see like that. And it's that sort of church that they are still to this day. And it's really sad to me to see the very people that were supposed to not let money and power be able to like buy them or bribe them into doing things. The very ones that were supposed to have integrity and that honor, be the ones to like abuse it. So bad. And it just makes me so angry. So angry. So anyway, I don't want to keep you super long. I know you've been so wonderful. And I want you to tell us all about your books that are coming up. Your next one's Orbits, right? Is that the next one to come out?
Chaotic Orbits is out the first week of August.
Perfect.
And it's about a girl who is committed to doing the wrong thing in space with jetpacks. And I'm very, very excited about it.
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I literally dedicated it to spite. Because I wrote that book about spite and out of spite. So it was a fun one.
I love this so much.
I know. Dexter's just like, I'm going to be a part of this. After that, I've got the sequel to The Crimson Throne, which is about Mary Queen of Scots with secret Fae court involved in the politics. The sequel is called The Blood Queen, and that completes the duology. And then in January, I have Dragon of the Deep, which is the first in an adult romantasy duology. And I know there's 5 whole chapters I refuse to let my mama read. So
I'm going to be a happy camper. I mean, you write this one for me, Beth.
It's basically How to Train Your Dragon for adults.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I'm excited for that one to come out. I've been working on that one.
I know you are. You've been excited, I know, for a while for that one. I can't wait to get my hands on it. And of course, you've got all of your Star Wars. You've got this beauty. I need to say it in case people aren't watching, they're listening. Princess and the Scoundrel. It is from your Star Wars. What is it called? Discography? What do you call like a
bibliography?
Bibliography. There we go. Your Star Wars section of that. And you wrote the most beautiful and adorable picture book. That it is of Han and Leia's right after their wedding, right? Or like
it is leading up to their wedding.
Leading up to it. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Desmond has it, and we read it. Now, it's beautiful. And that one's called
Someone Who Loves You.
The One Who Loves You. Yes, that's right. And it's beautiful. So if you have a kid out there, please get that and read it with them. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It was a fun one to write.
So, oh my God. I got a little teary-eyed the first time I read it because it was just like anyway. So yes, you've got all these amazing books coming out. Everybody, please check out Beth on her Instagram. I know you're on Threads, Twitter, everything, X.
I'm not on Twitter. I don't support nothing Elon Musk touches.
That's right. I'm not either. See, so I just assume. I always say that because everybody's still on it. But okay,
F that douchebag.
Not on it, guys. Don't even try. Okay. Yeah. So Instagram, Facebook,
yes,
and the Threads. Yeah.
Not that Zuckerberg is anything better, but.
But, I know, same. And it sucks because, when you do these things, you kind of got to have the social media.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite thing either. I kind of turn it off and back on a lot. And I don't even. I just saw our little thing, too. I was going to say from our trip. Do you still have your?
Oh, I do. I have mine.
From our hyper. We went on a Star Wars. We went on a Disney cruise together.
Mm-hmm.
And we got
I still have. It's right over there.
Yeah, I was like. I need to display this. I used to drink out of it because I loved it. And I was like, I'm going to break it. So I was like, I got to put this away. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, of course, come back anytime. I would love that. We'll have you back on, especially after Dragon of the Deep comes out in January. I would love to have you back on to talk about that. So that'd be fun. And to see where the state of our country's at. That'll be fun. Catch up on that.
Listen, I've got the champagne chilling for when it happens.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Like,
It's gonna happen. And I'm gonna show up your door with more wine.
yes. Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And we're just gonna party. So
It's gonna be the party of the century. Like, the
It
entire
sure is.
world is gonna party over
Oh,
this
are you
thing.
kidding? It's gonna be in the streets. Everybody. It's so true. It's so true.
That's great.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Beth. You
Yeah,
have a
thanks for
good
having me.
one.
Bye.
Bye.